on the phone with me right now is a genuine hero of mine. Some of my favourite films, Sightseers, Kill List, Field in England, and my future favourite film, Free Fire. Ben Wheatley, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you. That's an intro. I don't know if I can live up to that.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. It's a real pleasure to speak to you today. As I said, a lot of my favourite films are made by yourself. And now Free Fire, you come at the Tyneside Cinema in Newcastle in March. Could you tell us a bit about Free Fire?
Yeah, Free Fire is a kind of action comedy, and it's a movie. I love action movies, you know, and I just really wanted to make one, and I was lucky enough to be able to do that, you know. And I thought I was getting a bit disillusioned with stuff like modern cinema, where massive amounts of planets and cities and things were blowing up all the time. And I was watching these movies, and I was sitting there going, I should love this, but I don't know why I'm not, you know. And then I started thinking about my favourite movies from the 70s and 80s, which, you know, specifically something like RoboCop, where, you know, the ending of RoboCop is just a robot cop versus about four blokes in a truck.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant, you know. It's more than enough. So I thought, well, what if you take it right back and you reduce action right down, so that it's very personal and very kind of procedural. You know, it's like people dealing with lots of little problems, like you know, they're hiding behind small bits of cover and they have to move somewhere, and or they've been shot and they can't walk or run anymore and things like that. So it kind of came out of that, really.
I like those kind of films, very episodic kind of feel to them, just all contained within one space. We've seen from the trailer, It's just a 90-minute film, all set in this one room with a bunch of characters. Are you a big fan of that same kind of thing? Is that an influence from your sort of watchings before?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, it started off as trying to be like a really hard-boiled crime thing, but it ended up much more like kind of Home Alone with adults in it, and kind of more like kind of like more like Warner Brothers cartoons like Tom and Jerry. So it, you know, it's got that toughness, and the dialogue's really funny, but then you've got this kind of knockabout feeling in it, and it's been great. I mean, we've been up and down the country screening it, and people have been really loving it. So it's you know, it makes a change for me, because usually people watch my films and come out and going, "Oh my God, that was horrific," but they're coming out laughing and smiling. So I'm happy about that, I'll say.
It's true that a lot of your films have proved to be quite divisive. I like them for that reason. They've always got that something extra to them. They're not just, you know, plain straightforward. I mean, I was speaking to somebody. I mean, our house, we've kind of watched Kill List, and it's really separated us all. Even to this day, we're kind of going, "Oh, you like Kill List?" It's no disrespect, because I love it personally, but it did ruffle feathers, and obviously High Rise proved to be quite divisive as well. Is that something you aim for, kind of to push opinion a bit more?
No, never. We always try to make films that are like kind of crowd-pleasing blockbusters that will play all over the world. But it never works out that way. We try, you know, we really try. But we just, you know, I make the movies, and I know I like them. And I figure that there's probably an audience that's like me, you know. And if there isn't, then that's fair dues, you know. There's lots of films I don't like either. But, you know, it's not a problem.
This film has got a particularly stellar cast. We've got Brie Larson, who won the Oscar, obviously, which must have been quite the boost. A nice little marketing boost for you. Charlotte Copley as well, Armie Hammer, Cillian Murphy, Jack Rayner. How did you get that strong cast to come together for this film?
Well, the Brie Larson was really interesting, because it makes me look really clever that we managed to get someone who just won an Oscar, but Room wasn't even out when we cast her. It wasn't even finished, so it was just a bit of absolute blind luck. But kind of blind luck, but, you know, I cast her because she was good. Yeah. So there you go, you know. But Charlotte Copley, you know, a massive fan of his from District 9. I think he's really, really funny. Yeah. And I was watching the A-Team the other day as well, and that was fantastic. So he's great. He's a great improviser. Armie Hammer, I love from the Social Network, but also really from Lone Ranger, which I think gets a lot of stick. I really like Lone Ranger. I can understand why people hated it so much, or certainly critics hated it. But so it was good. I mean, I think, you know, it's kind of, I think what had happened was that when we made High Rise, I think the actors on High Rise had a really good time, and they go back to their agents and go, "Oh, that was great, that High Rise." So, you know, then the agents are more likely to let you talk to people, you know.
Yeah.
So it kind of, you know, who knew being nice can help.
You've kind of got this structure within your films that you direct. Your wife Amy Jump writes, and Laurie Rose is the DOP. What's that kind of collaborative process like across the films you've done? All very different films, I should add as well. Yeah,
it's different in different films. You know, I mean, sometimes I've written the script and then Ames has rewritten it. Sometimes she writes it on her own. You know, and on Free Fire it was different again, where I'd kind of written the original draft. She rewrote it, and then she rewrote it on set. So each day was a rewrite to accommodate the interesting kind of improvisation stuff that the actors were doing. So to make sure we could manage that, which was a little bit hairy for everybody involved, but it worked out really well, I think. She swears she'll never do anything like that again because it's quite stressful. But yeah, no, it was. So that's that, and then Laurie and I are basically, you know, we started together on Down Terrace as the first film, and kind of we've learned how to do it together, you know, and that's been a really interesting ride, really. And
obviously Laurie's going on to do Paddy Considine's new film, so he's kind of spread his wings from you, but also like doing his own great stuff, and certainly in our circle, becoming a very big name. Yeah,
well, I mean, Laurie's lucky, 'cause, I mean, you know, as a DOP, you work a lot more than a director does. So, I mean, I'd be going some to do one film a year, but a DOP can do like 2 or 3 at a push. So yeah, it's been great seeing his kind of career blossom out and him doing all this other great stuff. And of course, he won the BAFTA for London Spy as well last year. So that was good.
So I'm a big fan because the way you've done each film, I can say, is very different from the last. You're proving to be quite a versatile filmmaker. So do you have like a favourite genre to work in? Which have you enjoyed doing the most? Which will you revisit as well?
I don't know if I've got a favourite genre. I mean, I've got more like favourite experiences of making the films. I think Field in England was a great film to make because we just got left on our own, you know, and we could do whatever we wanted because the budget was so low, but the actors were so brilliant. And, you know, once you strip back like that, and it's just a very simple environment and just seeing great acting, really enjoyed that. And Amy's script was really stellar, so that was good. And then, you know, High Rise was great because it was the first time got to build sets and work with a really extended cast, and I really enjoyed that as well. So, you know, I just sound like a big positive lovey if you press me too hard on these things. It was all great. I loved it all.
Do you have a favourite film? I'm going to push you on that though. Do you have a favourite film of what you've made? I think there's different things. You know, there's films that worked out well, and then there's films that I enjoyed making. I mean, I'm a big fan of. That's ridiculous. I really like Down Terrace because it was the first one we did. You know, and we all, you know, it was all done as a kind of favours, and we were all striving together to make something, but we didn't quite know what we were doing. And then when it turned out all right, we were really happy. So, you know, that's got a lot of fond memories, that film, and that it was done so quick and with so few people involved in it. I really enjoyed that, and I watch that one occasionally and kind of go, oh, it's not bad for a film that's shot in 8 days. You know? Yeah, definitely. You spoke before about not liking those big blockbuster films. I mean, there must be something you like, but you know, more generally you don't. More and more indie film. I'm not trying to say anything, but more and more indie filmmakers are kind of being plucked from the sort of smaller films to do these big blockbuster films. I know Kong Skull Island in a few weeks' time is an indie filmmaker, for one example. Is that something that would interest you though, if they came knocking?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think when I say what I was feeling was I was losing kind of the enthusiasm that I had for the bigger stuff when I was watching it. Doesn't mean to say that the big blockbuster films aren't really enjoyable, but it was that thing. It was that thing of like, I remember watching, what was it, the making of The Man with the Golden Gun, the James Bond movie, and there was a lot of hoo-ha about this one stunt where they jump a car over a river with a twisty bridge, and it's like, wow, it's amazing, you know. and now it's just like, you know, that kind of thing is that kind of tiny bit of something that's really quite hard to do is now not seen as amazing anymore. And it was that I was trying to work out why that was, and I think it's to do with the amount of time spent on characterization versus, you know, and the personalities of the characters versus the spectacle, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot. I mean, I watched my son's 13, so I've seen every tentpole movie for the last 2 years, you know.
Yeah.
So I've got a fairly good idea of what's good and what's bad at the moment.
So the film, as with the other films, is going around the country touring. Is this the first time coming to Newcastle, I believe?
Well, yes, to show the film. Obviously, I've been to Newcastle before. But
Yeah.
It's but it was you know, we kind of on the high rise one. We thought we were doing all right with 20, but then when you actually look at it, it's a lot in the Midlands, and it's and we completely neglected the East Coast and the Southwest, really.
Mm-hmm.
So when we put together the new list, I was desperate to make sure that we went to places that we hadn't been before, you know.
And we're very grateful for it, yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's cool. I mean, you know, and it's a great treat for me because I get to meet the audiences, which is really important because they're the people who are coming out at the end of the day on some rainy, miserable night to go and pay money to see a film. So you want to know who these people are, you know. But also to see the cinemas themselves, because it's incredible. I found going up and down the country, seeing the cinema culture that's out there and how warm the audiences are and how excited they are about cinema, you know. And you don't get that perspective if you just hide in London. You just don't see it.
No.
Not that I'm London-based, but I mean that's where a lot of the Q&As just people do one in London and that's it, you know.
Yeah. Well, we had Alice Lowe here a few weeks ago, and I think she'll probably vouch for Newcastle being a good place, and the Tyneside as well is it's a beautiful cinema. You'll be taken away by it when you get here. What kind of questions do you want? Not to sort of dictate what you're going to get, but like, what kind of questions do you like getting the most from the audiences?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you don't obviously. I'm in mortal fear of incredibly clever questions that are difficult to answer. So that's my, you know, I just started going, oh God, please, no one is doing a dissertation on this. I can't, you know. But you know, you know, you like to. It's hard to answer it without sounding a bit self-serving. But you want to hear the questions that are extended out of like the people who enjoyed the film, you know.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
you'd assume that's why they were at the Q&A anyway, you know.
Yeah.
It's a weird one to go to see a film that you hate and then stay behind to have an argument, you know.
Someone brings a clipboard and nitpicks the entire film minute for minute. Like in that scene there, I wasn't too sure about the colouring. No. So what do you hope the audiences will get out of Free Fire? What do you want to make them feel?
You know, excited that they're in the middle of something, that they're engaged, that they're having a laugh. You know, so it's like it's both dangerous and scary sometimes, but also that they'll come away, you know, having really enjoyed themselves and had a few laugh out loud moments. And I think that's what I'm seeing from the tour. You know, and that's certainly when we premiered it in Toronto. Part of the Midnight Madness, where it won the audience prize as well, which is pretty amazing. And that audience went just mental. You know, they were screaming and laughing all the way through it. So it's gone from there. Obviously, a kind of festival audience is well hyped up, but I've seen it in just the Q&A screenings as well, with people really enjoying it and just, you know, coming up afterwards going, God, I haven't had that much fun in ages. You know?
Well, Ben, I'm delighted to be able to speak to you today, and I'm so excited for Free Fire on March the 1st at the Tyneside Cinema. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me, Ben.
Cheers, thank you. Thanks for chatting to me, and I hope it wasn't too windy on my phone.
It's all right, it's okay. And I hope your dog's well as well. I hope you had a nice walk.
He's all right. He's
right.
confused.
I'm not surprised.
Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.